Hello and welcome to episode 101 of Riding in the Weeds. I am Natasha Lucky and I'm here with my amazing co host Ginny. And today we're going to revisit a topic I'm sure we've chatted about before, which is taking it one step at a time. When you are going through something or you're doing something, not trying to think 5, 10 steps down the road. And this is your 3-foot toss. This can be talked about in so many different ways. But both Jenny and I have had some stuff going on, and it really came to the surface that this is a really good thing to revisit. And as always, when we revisit things, they generally have a completely different spin to them. So this is really for you if you're one of those overthinkers. If you're a procrastinator, not that I would know anything about that. I remember one time, and this is a funny example or maybe a silly example, but I remember reading in a Cosmopolitan magazine when I was a kid that going on a date with a guy doesn't mean you're going to marry them. And I just remember reading that, and it was probably the only valuable thing I ever read in Cosmo. But it shattered a whole lot of things for me because when you're young and you're thinking about going on dates with people, and this sort of extrapolate this out to so many different examples, but if you're like, oh, well, I can only date people that I might marry, how many opportunities do you miss of experiencing things that actually show you exactly what you don't want? And I think that that's really important. And so when we think too far down the line, we stop ourselves from all of the things. So again, I'm Natasha Lucky. I am a life and mountain bike performance coach. I have a VA business, create online courses, do a whole lot of cool stuff. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Ginny, who is going to introduce herself and kick us into our podcast episode.
Yeah, I'm Jenny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. And if you are looking to get a little more information from your pet's perspective on life, that would be a great reason to have a session together. I actually really love this topic because we tend to do this with our animals and we don't even know it. So the simple example that I can give is we form deep relationships with our pets, right? And we know them very, very well. And we get into trouble though when we think we know how our pet's going to respond in a certain situation. And what happens is, say our dog likes to bark at cars that go by, and you see a car approaching. The problem is your internal body and mind are already preparing for the dog to bark instead of waiting to see if the dog barks. And yes, the other 999 times the dog has barked. But what we get into trouble with is when we start anticipating the response of our pets, because then our pets start to pick up on that energy, and now they're basically validating the response that we have. And so now we're in this circle together where we're stuck in a pattern. And it's not fun. Most of those patterns are not fun. I've had them happen with my cats. I've had them happen with horses. They happen with dogs. They happen with pretty much any kind of pet that you deal with. And they happen with our partners too, and in our relationships and with our children. And so it's a big trap that we can fall into. It's a great way to stay in the weeds because we are already deciding the outcome of something before it ever happened. And that's not helpful.
Well, and sometimes you're having an argument, like I've seen people expecting somebody to say something. I'm sure I've done it myself. Expecting someone to say something or expecting the animal to do something, and you respond to what you're thinking in your brain before it even happens. And so if you're sitting ruminating and your partner's late home from work and you're pissed off for whatever reason and you're having all of these thoughts, and the person walks in the door, and you've got two options. You can be like, hey, welcome home. So stoked you're home. I've been super sad that you weren't here, and I'm really glad you're home now. Versus attacking that person from that place that has been in your head. I have this dog who is just lovely. Like, he is just lovely. He is not perfect, but he is lovely. And I say that because everybody tells me that. I'm not that parent But everyone's like, oh my God, this dog is such a good dog. And if other animals come to him, he's gentle, he's very sweet, he's not going to attack, he's not going to do anything. And so I clearly don't respond like he will. But I have those people that you see them, they're pulling their dogs away. Nothing has happened yet. And they're responding as if there's already been a crazy clash that's happened. And you're like, well, what do you expect is going to happen? If that's the energy you're putting out there, like right now, you're the crazy one in the room, not your dog. And on a slightly different aspect, though, with mountain biking, people would be hesitant to try something because of what's going on in their head and the story that they've created in their head. But unless you do something and do it wrong, until you take the action, you can't take the next action. So on a mountain bike, until you try going over the curb and see what you do right or wrong, you can't go over something bigger. But if you don't go over the curb, you're never going to be able to correct what you're doing right or wrong, so you can never progress forward. And that's true in everything. Until you actually take the first step, you don't know what the next steps are going to be.
Yeah. And I think that's the way we get stuck in the weeds, is because we already have a story, really. It's not even an idea. It's a story about what's going to happen or what could happen. And we're so busy worrying about the story that we aren't actually present to what's happening in front of us, with us, to us right now in the moment.
Yep.
And when we are too busy writing the future story that hasn't even happened yet, what's unfolding in front of us, either we're missing it or we're creating the scenario that we don't want because we're super focused on that. I mean, that's a great way to get your dog to bark, is to be worried about your dog barking. They pick up on that energy. They pick up on those unspoken things. And so we're always broadcasting things through our energy. And if we're relating to another person or another being and you don't want them to be doing something, don't focus on it. Don't write a story about it. Write a story about the only thing that you see in front of you, which probably isn't as complicated or doesn't have nearly as much detail as your brain is telling you it does. And this is such a tricky situation because it's really hard to be able to operate from that place. Yeah. But the main themes of what we've talked about that come back again and again are being present and having focus.
Yeah.
And if you're present with what's happening, then you can make decisions based on what's happening, not what you think is going to happen. And then you continually adapt your focus to whatever is happening in front of you. If you try to adjust your sails for the storm coming tomorrow night,
it's not going to help.
It is not going to be useful at all for your sailing progress. Yeah. So you have to stay with what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And you can make decisions.
It's that whole idea of what is the problem that you have right now? Well, the problem is that I might run out of money, or I might fall off my bicycle, or my dog might attack another dog, and oh my God, if that happened. No. What problem do you have right now, in this current moment? What is your problem? And a lot of the time, right in this moment, there actually isn't a problem. And if there is, if you become 100% present to what is actually the problem right in this moment, you can actually take an action step. And there is no problem. If the problem can be solved by taking action, there is not a problem. There's just a lack of action. And then it's that one step at a time. And it's so easy to say, and it's so easy to talk about. And it's easy to talk about when you're like, yep, been there, right now. Yep. There are so many things that future me's got some shit to deal with. Current me, it's actually okay.
Yeah. And I think we're far more okay than we give ourselves credit for. Like our brains are naturally always spinning stories.
Always.
I mean, that's exactly why we talk about the things we talk about, because it's stuff that's coming up in our awareness that we're struggling with. And I feel like if I'm struggling, I know there's other people that are struggling too.
Yeah.
And the sheer fact of having the conversation helps to reset things. It helps to remind you. It helps to get it solidified into the way you are, and helps to make those decisions easier. Like, it almost doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. So yeah, if I can be more present and remember, oh yeah, hey, maybe I should just check in with what's here and not what's going on in the future, or not what's going on in the past or outside of this moment. Maybe I'll have an easier time of it. Maybe I can just let go of those other things. And when we approach it with curiosity, I think that makes it easier to explore and ask more questions about what is, rather than the anxiety mind spinning stories that it's going to insist are all true.
Yeah.
Even when all of them couldn't be true at once. It's still going to swear they're all true all the time.
I think that is what is so sad about our current technology that we have going on, is people are trying so hard to create more problems for you and to confuse you, and not in a mean way. All of these influencers on Instagram are not trying to actively be mean, but by pushing their idea on you, they're just creating more confusion and more stories. And so if you can get present with what's going on, I want to learn how to ride my bicycle. Okay. Where am I struggling with riding my bicycle? I feel like I don't have any balance. Okay, well, if I want help with balance, where can I find that? You know what? I'm going to go onto Instagram and I'm going to look up some reels. I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm going to actively look for things that will help me find better balance on my bicycle. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for all of the other information that is out there. And honestly, the last week I've not been feeling well. I've had a lot of stuff going on. And I actually got a cold. I don't get sick. And I'm not happy about it. But what it meant was, I was like, you know what? I gave myself permission to not get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and do my yoga and my workout, because that was not going to help me right now. And what's interesting is I feel like I've actually maybe lost weight in the last week, because I haven't been forcing myself to get up and do something. It's given me a bit of a rest. And I think there's so much truth to, if our cortisol is really high, we're not able to make good decisions. We then roll into cravings. We roll into procrastination about jobs that need to be done. There's all of these other pieces. And when we're like, yes, but I have to do this thing in order for this next thing, well, like, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
Always. Maybe there is room to take a different action step and see what happens. I've been tired. Me and the dog have not gone for enough walks, but the dog's also been sick. So taking him for a big long walk right now is probably not good for him either. So the normal rules still apply, but maybe not right now.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of those points where I think the adaptability piece is so important. How can you keep adapting to what is and not worry about the rest, not worry about whether or not you're going to do your workout tomorrow or not? At that point, it doesn't matter. It's, do you want to do your workout today?
Yeah.
How many times you did your workout in a row prior to that don't matter.
Yeah.
And how many times you're going to do your workout in a row after this don't matter. It's a choice point today. And every day you get to have those choices. Just because you've done something every day for the past umpteen however many days doesn't mean you have to do it today.
Yeah.
And I know that that's one of the things I've struggled with the horses, is they all benefit from more work. The more work I can do with them, the better. Well, the last couple weeks, it's only been about once a week between a vacation and the weather and then schedules. it's only been once a week. And you know what? They're doing fantastic. So sometimes a break is actually exactly what you need. And when you stop resisting the change that's happening in the moment and just go, all right, this is what we have to work with right now. This is what we're going to deal with, and allow that to be, sometimes you come back better
Totally.
than before.
100%.
So it's worth it to just allow things to unfold in front of you a lot more organically instead of resisting every single thing coming because you think you know what's better in the moment. I mean, frankly, I guess really don't know. None of us, we don't even know for ourselves, let alone another being.
Well, maybe.
So it's all just a guess anyway.
And maybe we do know. Well, at least we know a lot better if we stop and we're present. Because again, if I'm making a decision from that place of the problem is that if I don't work out, I'm going to gain weight and I'm going to be out of shape. That's not today's problem. Today's problem is that I need sleep because if I don't sleep, I'm not going to heal and I'm not going to get rid of this cold. That's today's problem. And today's problem is not going to get better if I get up early and push myself through a workout.
Yeah.
Same thing when you're biking, right? You really need to check in when I do bike programs. One of the things I ask people is, where are you at today? It's a Wednesday afternoon. It's been super, super hot. Everyone's been at work. It was a long weekend. How are you actually feeling? And everyone's like, yeah, I got like a 2 out of 10 on the energy scale. That's not the day that we go and like work on climbing. Like, that would be stupid, right? No one is going to benefit from that exercise that day. We find something that's like going to be cool and is going to take into the account. It's also not the day we're going to go and tackle a super hard technical downhill, right? It might be the day where we actually go nowhere and we spend our time fine tuning balance in a cornering drill and we just do drills and go for a really nice easy bike ride. In fact, we might throw the entire curriculum out the door and just go biking in a nice cool area where it's a small uphill and a fun easy downhill and we'll practice what we've been working on. It's really important to look at where you're at and make the best decision for that, because pushing through to step 10 when you're at step 1 and you're not feeling it. We did a somatic writing workshop today, and one of the big things that Laura Michelle said was take a stock of how you're feeling and step into that place in your body where that feeling is and spend some time writing from that place. And that gives you the clues that you need to start to unlock whatever it is that is holding you back. Because when we're just trying to push through because we feel like we have to get to step 10, it's not in alignment.
Yeah. There's a saying in the horse world that slow and right beats fast and wrong. And I come back to that a lot in a lot of different places in my life because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, so you missed a couple workouts because you weren't feeling well. But that's the slow and right version instead of the fast and wrong version, which is to do it anyway. And you'll be sick longer and you'll feel worse longer and you won't be able to bounce back as fast.
Yeah.
So where can you look for those opportunities in life, even if it means adjusting what you're doing?
Yeah.
But you're able to do that because you're present.
Absolutely.
Because you're actually assessing what's happening, what really is, and not the story that your brain wants to tell you about the situation. Or what it means about you to miss a workout, or what it means about your dog if they do this, or whatever. If we quit attaching meanings to things, especially things that haven't even happened, we'll have a little bit easier of a time.
Yeah, so true. So one of the other situations that really sparked this conversation was the idea of you've got an opportunity. And maybe the opportunity is applying for a new job or taking another step in your career or launching a new product or whatever it might be. And it's like you don't send in the resume because you can see down the track, if I was to actually get the job, or if that situation was actually going to happen, how is that going to play out? And it's so interesting. I had a friend one day and she was like, I love applying for jobs. It's like, I don't actually want most of the jobs, but I like applying for them because if I got the job and they offer me something, they might offer me something that's amazing and it might change everything. And it was really helpful to me because I was like, it's actually the best place to be. Go on Indeed, check out the job market, and apply for jobs. And if no one ever writes you back, doesn't matter. If somebody does and they offer you a job and you don't want it, well, it's easy. You say no because you didn't really want it. But what if you actually got something? Or what if they came back and offered you something that you never even imagined might be the reality? But it's that example of we won't take that step. We won't do that thing because we're too caught in our imagination of what we think it could mean. And we actually have no idea. And I keep on asking questions and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing in September right now. Like right now I'm kind of committed to be here until the end of September. And there could be an opportunity to stay for the winter. I had one of the guys from the lodge that's just out the way. He's like, well, you guys don't have anywhere to be. You can come live with us for the winter in the lodge. And I was like, oh, cool. I don't know if I want to do that. And then I was like, you do realize I have a big fluffy dog? He's like, yeah, I have to talk to the owner about that. But I don't know why he's offering to have us out there for the winter. I don't know what opportunity that even is. And I don't even know why he offered that. But maybe there's something bigger there. Or maybe I should just go to Mexico. But I have options. And the more options you have, the more choices you have, and the more things that become possible. But nothing is possible if you don't have conversations about anything.
Yeah. And to your point right here, you don't even have to make a decision. No. There is no point in stewing over any of those options because you don't need to make a decision. And nothing that you stew on right now is going to be helpful for that situation. If you are interested in exploring one of those options, you have a couple questions you need to ask in order to sort out whether or not that's a good option for you. But hemming and hawing and chewing on it like a dog on a bone is not going to serve you in any way, and it just wastes your energy.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. An energy that
Just
could be put towards something else because chances are you're stewing on that thing because you're avoiding doing something else. And again, I'm Laura Michelle. We're going to have her on our show very soon here.
Yes.
But one of the things she said to me was when I was applying for a bunch of jobs, and she's like, if you had spent the same amount of time reaching out to people to get clients for your new business versus getting a job, where would you be? And I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I might have had a whole lot of clients paying me a whole lot of money, which would have paid for me to go and live somewhere that I then wasn't working doing something else. I mean, who knows, right? I don't know, but I don't know unless I actually do those things. As long as you avoid or take actions that aren't aligned with what you're actually wanting, you just keep stepping further away from what you really want.
And I think you're bringing up an important point that often when we stew or we are gnawing on something like that, it's often because we're resisting. And the only way to get through that is to get really, really honest with yourself about what's going on. Mm-hmm. And what is underneath all of that that is causing those feelings. Most of the time, I dare say, it's some kind of fear.
No. Really? Fear of success.
We're usually afraid of whatever the outcome is. And if we can be honest, I mean, that's one of the big key things with the animals is like if you're feeling fear around an animal, just admit it.
Yeah.
Because when you get it out in the open, all that energy can shift. But until it's out in the open, it can't shift.
Yeah. It's so very true. And one of the other things that was going on for me over the last couple of days is our dog got bit by something. And I was saying to Jenny, I was like, until this morning when he was on his way to the vet, I was like, everything's fine. Everything's good. Because there wasn't anything I could do. So stewing in fear for 4 days was not going to be helpful. And so just managing, giving him love, doing the best I could, doing what needed to be done in the moment, at that moment, was all that could be done. And then as soon as we could, we took him to the vet first thing this morning. And they've dealt with him, and hopefully he will be totally fine. But this morning I allowed myself to be sad and be totally fearful and be scared, because now we could do something about it. But over the weekend, it was
something was happening.
Something was happening. But I've definitely been fairly stuck over the week. I haven't really been doing very much because I've also been like buffering this terror. I didn't want to talk about, no, he's going to be fine. I don't even want to look at what's going on with him because I don't want to see that it's gotten worse, because there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the right strategy. Sometimes that's not the right strategy. I think just being present, taking one step at a time, and not letting yourself be stopped by the story that you're writing is the key to this conversation. And really allowing yourself to be present with what's actually going on is going to get you out of the weeds way faster than not being present with what's really going on.
Yeah, being stuck in the story.
Being stuck in the story. There's always a solution. And it is always just one step at a time. That is what has to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And almost every time I'm stuck in some story, whatever happens is not as bad as the story I was telling.
It's true.
So it's worth it to just figure out how to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But honest and present with what's going on. It's very simple. It's not easy. We have these conversations because we are working on these things.
Yeah.
It's not because we feel like we have some uber guru wisdom to share. We share because we are struggling in the moment.
I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and he was like, you know, we don't talk about this stuff enough. I'm like, yeah, well, that's why I have this podcast.
Exactly.
He was like, I'm going to listen to that podcast. We were talking about meditation. He's like, yeah, I find it really hard. And I'm like, so does everybody else. So we did an episode on that. Because that's the thing is if you take the highlight reel, you think you're all by yourself.
Yeah.
You think you're the only one. Yeah. And you're just another human having a human experience. And you get to be in the 1% by being present. And by remembering that just by being conscious to this stuff, you are one step ahead of 97% of the human race.
Yeah.
And you get to focus on things that are way more interesting and way more helpful and way more healthy than that muck that is currently going on. That is just really a reality TV show that no matter how much you embed yourself into it, what you can do to help humanity is take actions that allow you to align with your higher purpose and your higher self and your happiness. And that will move the needle for anyone that comes into your sphere of influence.
Absolutely.
So remember that when you're going about your day.
Yes.
And
yes, make the choice.
Yeah, just make the choice. It's just those little action steps that'll get you where you're going.
Yeah.
So with that, you've got this. We've got this. One more moment out of the weeds before we step back into them. I'm Natasha Lockie. I am a life performance coach. I teach mountain biking. I have a business VA business, I guess, that helps people. If you've got an idea for an online course you're wanting to get out into the world, if you are wanting to get clients and you're just not sure how to go about doing that, I can help you. So reach out to me. You can find me at Betty Go Hard on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Natasha Lockie, and on Substack. I've been a little quiet lately, but I am there. If you message me, I will definitely message you back. And if you ever want to chat, meetwithtash.com. Easy way to set an appointment with me. And I apologize if everyone can hear the weedy whacking that's going on behind me right now.
I mean, it's appropriate, right?
It's so true. Whacking down those weeds.
Right? So I am Jenny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are looking to deepen your relationship with your pet or explore life from their perspective, which can help solve emotional challenges, behavior challenges, things like that, that is a good reason to have a session together. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Substack, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the same handle. We really appreciate you riding along in the weeds with us today. It's been a little bit of a wild one. You can find the podcast on all major podcast platforms as well as on YouTube, and our sort of home base is on Substack. So we would love to hear from you. Leave us your likes, comments, and shares, and we always appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you guys. Have a great day, and you got this.